Guys, they're taking our anime women. Steam is taking our anime women. And we need to talk about it. Steam bans more anime games. Brown Tusk 2 blocked days before release. Sexy women targeted. Yeah, Brown Tusk 2 is essentially a Gunnar gacha. Like, it's crazy. This is by Vara Dark. We're gonna look at it, what Steam did again. Remember, this has been going on for a while. Right? Anybody remember that horror indie game that was nuked for having a woman in a bikini in one of the title screens or title pictures or whatever? Anyways, we're looking at this. To be fair, I'm not surprised. Brown Tusk 2 is incredibly how do you say this? They have this is one of the gachas where I'm like, Broski, how did you get away with being 12 plus? How?
Censorship in the video game industry has been out of control for years at this point, but it looks like it's only going to continue to get worse, as I've had to talk a lot about Japanese-developed games being targeted, and now Koreans are being added to the mix. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, all of these games have one specific theme that is being targeted, and that is
they have attractive anime women. That is what these. I'm surprised that it didn't happen to Blue Archive. I'll be real. I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised, but I'm not surprised really for Brown Tusk 2. That is peak Gunnar material. Brown Tusk 2 is 18. Neek is 12. Here in Germany, Brown Tusk 2 was at one point 12, and Uma Musume is 18. Yeah. Now Brown Tusk 2 is probably, I think maybe it has changed, I don't know, we'll see.
Pretty women. We get to see a lot of AAA games be let through with no problems, but when it comes time for indies and AA studios to actually put their games onto platforms like Steam, put them in the PlayStation Store and even the eShop, then it becomes a major problem, and unfortunately a lot of these developers don't have the power.
I looked it up. Brown Tusk 2 here in Germany is 16 plus. It's for 16-year-olds. The more you know.
Power to fight back. They don't have money to throw at a lawsuit. They don't have the ability to really fight Steam. And unfortunately, it looks like things are only getting worse as more pretty women in video games are being targeted. So I did recently talk about how apparently butts are too graphic. Aftermath Red Pine Lake had posted back in November that apparently women's
Yep. That was the one. Red Pine Lake, women booties, which is really interesting. That was too much for Steam. Can I get The Last of Us 2 on Steam? Why is a gay sex scene allowed? Anyways, Musume is 18 due to being a horse racing game, which is by technicality gambling. Let's go gambling.
behinds are not allowed because their game was initially supposed to go up on the platform, then it was restricted, and the Steam team had said, if you look long enough, I'm sure you'll find plenty of other partners who are breaking our rules and guidelines. Focusing the topic of the image on a woman's behind is indeed sexual in nature, regardless of what she's wearing. Your graphical assets can be viewed by everyone on the platform.
Women aren't sex objects. Women bodies are not sexual until they are. I find this weird double standard funny. So women bodies should not be sexualized. So it should be no problem for a woman's butt to appear, right? Because technically we're saying that it's not that it's normal, right? We're saying it's normal. It shouldn't be something sexual, right? A woman in a bikini, that shouldn't be something sexual. Unless the double standards pull up. Then suddenly it is.
platform and should be appropriate for the store, which I think is so rich because they have so much worse content on the platform. It's not like this is a hentai game. It's not like it's NSFW. It simply has a picture of a woman in a bikini that, in my opinion, is not sexual in nature at all whatsoever. If you look at a woman in a bikini and instantly sexualize her, maybe you're part of the problem because it's normal swimwear, but apparently women's butts are too graphic now. Next, it might be ankles or shoulders or wrists. And
hips, hips, hips. And after hips, feet bros, you're next. After hips, feet bros. Maybe they're preparing for the great so maybe they're preparing that every woman is supposed to wear essentially a burqa, right? Because then they're not sexualized anymore, right? I wonder if that would have changed anything when Poget gets in the controversy for misogyny. It is what it is. Finally, I achieved it. Ultra misogyn instinct.
And I had posted, this is why I say censorship is a slippery slope. We've now gotten to the point where a woman's body is more offensive than the games with gore and violence. And I, of course, don't think any of this content should be censored, but they are fine with you hacking and slashing and shooting somebody. But God forbid a woman in a game wear a bikini, even though women in the real world wear bikinis. And
which is like the ironic part, right? That is the ironic part. So, sexualizing women in fictional content, bad. Women dressing like whores, empowerment. So one is sexualization and oppressive and misogyny and patriarchy and whatever. And the other one is women's freedom. Weird. That is weird. Sounds like you're actively trying to push women to sexualizing themselves. That's just me, though.
You have the situation with Lover's Kiss because the unequal Valve review that seems to target Japanese people, girl protagonist
Girl needs something to eat! Buddy, give this woman a nice steak! What the heck? What is this? Feed this woman! Help! Give her some meat! Fatten her up! What is this? Jeez. Oh, crazy. Crazy. One thrust and she just gets pulverized right there.
ADV, Inner Truth, and Girl Photography SLG, Lover Kiss, Endless Memories simultaneously removed from Steam. So yes, again, pretty women in games. But now we have to talk about how Brown Dust 2 was banned from Steam before release. Now, I have seen a limited amount of this game, but it is a Korean mobile RPG. It is a tile strategy title, though one of the ways they market it is with very beautiful.
Not only are the women hot in this game, the game's also fun. Like, it's fun. Like, the strategizing is fun. Like, placing your characters in a way that you do enough damage and you hit them the right way, and it's like, the game generally, aside from like the hot women, it's still fun, which is crazy.
Full women, and clearly there was a lot of excitement over this, given if you
damn boy
open their webpage, it talks about how it had 100,000 Steam wish lists, and unfortunately now that is not the case as they are facing problems. Now, this game, in my opinion, has such a pretty art style. I think all of the characters in this game actually look really cool. All of the art simply looks really, really cool.
I started the game when they dropped the first wave of summer outfits. And my god, I need to get them all. I maxed out all of them. I maxed out all of them. The moment I saw that there's the summer characters, I was like, yep, this is it. I'm in that bitch.
And it's a title that, in my opinion, would capture most people's attention. Now, yes, there are characters in this game that are wearing pretty revealing outfits. As you can see, you've got like this bunny suit, kind of looks like Ultimate Bunny in the first Descendant. You've got several characters that, of course, look like this that are wearing very revealing outfits. Their assets are on full display, but either way,
I'm getting banned. Yeah, that's Brown does too.
we are talking about Steam, and Steam has way more risque content than this. Steam allows games with full-on sex scenes in it, which again, I think is perfectly fine because I'm not for censorship, and I think that if it's content you don't want to consume, you can just ignore it, and if you want to consume it, you should be able to buy it. But we're not talking about a game that like pushes the limits and has extreme gore and violence and
As long as it's not illegal content, I see no issue. As long as it's not illegal, I see no issue. Steam was based at one point, but they're losing their baseness by the second.
sexual content. It's not like it's got everything that Steam would mark. We're talking about ladies in bunny suits, and it really just boils down to women's sexuality. Now, it's very funny to me because this is what feminists should technically be standing against, is the censorship of women. It doesn't matter where or when, but in this case,
Technically, it's sexualizing women because banning, essentially removing, games that show women's bodies because they're showing women's bodies is inherently sexualizing, which means technically feminists should be against because they're against the sexualization of women. Basically that. Basically that. If you want to argue you're against the sexualization of women, then you would need to be against the idea that a woman's body is inherently sexual, which Steam is technically pushing. The math is mathing, I think.
it would be an entertainment, and yet they're nowhere to be found. And oftentimes they actually argue that these characters should be censored. This is the one time when we could actually maybe stand with the feminists in some way, but their priorities are so insane, and now they're for censoring women because they want to fight the male gaze, which of course is a fictionalized concept, that the one time
You fight the male gaze. I fight the male gaze. We are not the same.
they could be slightly relevant to a conversation, they're nowhere to be fucking found. And gamers are calling out Steam, and rightfully so, because we have seen a lot of issues when it comes to Steam and them sort of fighting the payment processors. But the issue, as I had said months ago when the Visa MasterCard situation was going on, is that years before that, Steam had been censoring content. Steam had been censoring women. Steam had been censoring anything that they found objectionable. And that is the problem we now face. Is this because of the payment processors? Is this just because a rogue Steam employee said, no, I don't like this game, so I'm going to deny it? We don't have any information, and unfortunately, we're probably not going to get any. Now, they did.
I'm gonna be honest. If you are... So, Bronda's 2 developers. If they want you to censor the game, I would not cave. I would literally set up a website and just make it downloadable through your own website at this point. Like, straight up. Yes, we'll probably less traffic, not through Steam, but at this point. Or any other place where you could put the game. But I wouldn't do it on Steam. Steam has clearly shown that, like, if they want them to censor the game, I wouldn't do that.
Did make a statement on their website. It's very short, it's very simple. They just said, we've identified an issue where access to the Brown Dust 2 game page and community features on the Steam platform is restricted. We are in communication with Steam and are working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like that's going to change if this truly is not just like one random situation where they didn't mean to hide it and restrict this game, but how often do they really?
Look at this game. Jesus. Look at this. Okay. So they nuked Brown Dust 2, right? Yet these games, sex with maids, sex with teachers, with the devil, with Hitler 2, with Hitler 2069, Stalin. That's a soundtrack. With Ogre. Okay, so these are not the problem. These are not the problem. But Brown Dust 2 is. Sure, buddy, especially these two. Like, what the fuck, bro? Broski, what the hell?
Turn course and listen to gamers, not often. There are lots of people calling them out, which I think is amazing. They should just release their own PC launcher, probably the reason Nikkei didn't bother with the Steam release. This is a good point. Steam doesn't moderate their moderation team. A game's existence on Steam is entirely random and based on the personal views of whatever moderator they happen to get, and Steam won't do anything about this, never have, never will, and this is the unfortunate truth of the matter. They have employees who go rogue. They don't follow one consistent rule set, and
Yep. Moderators are... Mods are the lowest of the low. Obviously, well, not my mods. My mods are peak. They are great. I love my mods. But if there's one thing I don't like, it's Discord mods, Reddit mods, and the pure Steam mods.
it's been that way for years. That's why so many games are banned unfairly, yet Steam will allow content that is much more graphic on their platform. This censorship is also putting many creators out of jobs if they can't release their games on certain platforms. We were right there, ma'am. Apparently, the updated wishlist number was 210,000, according to this poster. They could have done it a long time ago, but chose to do it right before release so they can piss off the most amount of people. Kind of funny, Steam has tons of hentai games, but they can't handle this game. Oh, brother. Here we go again. Unsurprising, Steam has been cringe lately. Just use the official launcher. And yeah, it's not like you can't play this game at all whatsoever. Now you just have to go down different routes and you have to find alternative ways to get it from their website first and foremost, but it's just really unfortunate that this is happening. Now maybe this will be one of those rare instances where, oh, it was actually just an error and they apologize to the developers, but when is...
Maybe, but it's a bit... See, it's a bit weird nuking it right before release. Like, it's been announced for a while. So if you nuke it right before release, that makes it weird and suspicious and odd. Like, you're actively trying to make the, like, force, basically, the game to somewhat fail a little. That's weird. Like, that mistake, that whatever issue, that should have been noted a long time ago then. It's a bit weird.
That ever happened? I genuinely can't think of an instance.
Might as well just be somebody who got offended by big titty anime women.
Off the top of my head, so I'll be following this pretty closely, but unfortunately, if you were excited for Brown Dust 2, you are no longer able to wishlist it and play it on Steam at this point in time. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either.
To summarize, Steam is retorted. They're gonna keep digging their own grave. I'm not surprised. It's Steam. Intelligence isn't something they've been recently known for, considering that they love nuking the stuff recently. Is this due to the payment processors? Maybe. It's definitely due to the mods. Steam, get new mods. How about we get new mods? How about that? Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.